on, Foxy. It's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Hello. What's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark, and welcome back to another episode of Blerdkast. And it's Monday, so you know what time it is. It is time for us to get pontificating about issues that are close to us here in the nerdy community. And on today's episode, I am joined by yet another fantastic panel of guests where we're going to talk about issues within the queer community, but within the lens and scope of it being in nerdy spaces. And I would like to go ahead and introduce my mod for the show, the lovely as always, Miss Joy Stevens. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, spectacularly well, and thank you for asking. I'm excited to be a part of this panel. Thank you all for letting me into your space tonight. And Mark, I want you to sit back and just relax, if you will, and be your own guest on your show. And I'll moderate from here. So I want to start by, aside from Mark, asking everyone else if you would be so kind as to introduce yourself to our audience. I'm going to start with this way, Pop Tech. Please tell them who you are. Can I hear you? Okay, so I'm going to go to Phil. Please tell them who you are.
All right. For those who don't know, my name is Phil. I go by the Blur Explorer on TikTok and IG. My content is primarily Black nerdy stuff, Black travel related stuff as well.
Okay. So you said Black nerdy stuff and Black travel stuff?
Yes. Black travel, okay. Black gamer, Black foodie, all Black everything.
Okay. Rooting for everything Black. I got it. Nice. Yep. Nice. Okay. Ryan, how about you?
My name is Ryan. I'm the art of Ryan Robinson. I'm an illustrator and a freelance artist.
Okay. Yep. What sort of art or media do you work in?
Fine art. I'm a painter.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I did, if you're familiar with Moana and Dana, I did the Adventures of Nicole, and I illustrated his books. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, cool. Okay. Welcome. Pop Tech, we're back to you. And we are still miming with Pop Tech. Okay. We got a little technical difficulties over there in the corner. Mark, even though this is your channel, please introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? Everybody know me. I am Mark. I am the host of Blerdkast sometimes. And also, I run a little YouTube channel called Blerdography, where I explore all things blerdy in the nerd space. And welcome to the show, everybody.
Okay. All right. So we want to jump right into it because there's a whole lot that we want to cover. And I want to try our best to try to get to as many of these topics and ideas as we can. So looking at my list of questions, I'm not going to jump right in with that first, but let's just talk about being queer creators, and how does your personal identity mix in with your expression of your work, of your art, so on and so forth. Anything y'all want to share in that? Like, does it come through? Is it separate? Is it a part of it? Is it the reason for it? Talk to me about your identity and your art.
Quick question. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you now.
Okay. I switched the phone, so.
Okay. So just quickly introduce yourself to everybody.
My name is Q. I go by Pop Tech on all social medias. I do coverage for cons and various events. That's about the major thing for me.
Okay. Thank you. So we're starting off with your identity in the LGBTQ plus community, like your queerness, and whether that is a part of your art, separate from your art, the reason for your art. Like, talk to me how those two things blend together. Anybody want to go first?
I can go first. So I identify as gay. I've been married for almost 10 years. My anniversary is on November 18th.
Happy anniversary.
So
Congratulations.
yeah,
Congrats.
with me, with my queerness, I've been gay primarily almost all my life. I think for me with my art, what I identify with is I connect to horror. A lot of my art is around horror. With horror, there's a lot of queerness, a lot of coded queerness in movies of that nature. So with me, that's what I relate to most with my art. But I don't do like queer art per se, like queer fiction, anything of that nature. With my paintings, my expressiveness is through color. I'm very high in color contrast. I love color theory. A lot of that stuff is represented through my art. Whatever painting that I'm doing, there's always a little bit of me in there. With my queerness. Yep.
Okay. You mentioned like some queer coded things in horror.
A lot of horror is queer coded. A lot. A lot of horror.
For those not in the know or that missed it, can you share a couple of examples?
If you see Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the main character is obviously gay. So a lot of the representation in that movie is gay, very gay coded. That's a prime example. That is a legitimate example if you've never seen it. Yeah.
Okay. Very good point. As we continue that question, I want to take a moment to allow our newest guest, Greg, to please introduce yourself. Hello, Greg.
Hey, how you doing?
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Sure. My name is Greg Anderson Elysée. I am a comic book writer and creator. My main series is It's Not the Word Spider, who is about the son of a non-sea and incorporates a lot of mythology from Black culture and traditional figures and stories. And a lot of my stories tend to focus on just Blackness in general.
Okay. Anybody else want to answer that first question before we move on to something else around whether or not your work reflects your identity or if there's any intentional representation of that in your work?
Well, I identify as pansexual. I came out actually this year. I was ally before I realized I was a member. But a lot of my work I do reflect to the LGBT community. There's actually a contest in North Carolina that's kind of geared towards that. And so I try to highlight them whenever I can, which is once a year, but I try to highlight any cosplayers as well that shows any LGBT cosplay look to themselves or any drag shows, stuff like that. I try to highlight that because they don't really get highlighted a lot in content for cons.
Good point. Okay. I appreciate your efforts there. Wonderful. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I particularly put this question in because it's something that I personally kind of obviously deal with a lot, but I usually don't put like my own queerness or my own sexuality within my work. Usually with the photography and videos and things like that, I just cover either what's in front of me or just highlight what, talk about certain subjects and keep it within the nerdy space. But as I journeyed through the Blerd community and got to know more people by doing these type of shows, by coming up with these talking points and just having an open, honest conversation, I started to bleed in sexuality and queerness within like the podcast. This is the second time we've done this episode. We did this back in, I think, June, back in Pride Month, and now we're doing it in October because it's Atlanta Pride or Atlanta Pride weekend not too long ago. So I was like, this would be a good time to bring this topic back up and continue some of the talking points that we were talking about because especially within the nerd community, especially within the Black gay men community, there's a lot of strife and struggle and issues that need to be addressed and talked about. So as a creative, as an artist, I just wanted to bring different perspectives together so we can start addressing some of these things.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into something deep then. A while ago, since you mentioned the Pride Parade, it reminded me that I walked in the parade last Sunday and with one of my favorite clients. And I did a couple of workshops for them. One of them, which was called Spill the Tea. And it was a discussion. It was a joint thing between the Black group, ERG group, and the LGBTQ ERG group. And so coming together, that intersection. And one of the things that we ended up spending a lot of time on was the treatment and relationship that Black queer people have with the church and with organized religion as a whole. Matter of fact, one of the folks that was on the panel then was a minister, and it was interesting to see how it all came together. So I'm interested in bringing that topic back forward again. And what has been y'all's relationship, if any, or opinion around organized religion? Because I'm not talking spirituality. I think that's a different thing, but organized religion and queerness, especially in the Black community. Because I know what I've seen, but I'm interested to see what, I see the giggles. Talk to me.
I can definitely say it definitely plays a big part. And for me, for those who don't know, I'm one of the very, very few brothers out there who's trans attracted. That's my dating preferences. I date one of the dolls. That's my thing. I think a lot of times, definitely, grow up in the Black church, especially our age group and older, like plays a huge part into why so many people, especially in the Black LGBTQ spaces, struggle with being open and being themselves. Because, a lot of us, grow up in the church. The time you hear the pastor talking about, oh, this is a sin, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Or some people, in this case from guys like me, comes to deal with transgender women, right? A lot of us, grow up in an era, and like a lot of us probably had that struggle of what's my pastor going to think, what's the church going to think, and similar to not only to that, but also what are my friends, my society, my friends, family going to think about, because of my dating purposes. And on top of that, that pressure of being a religious person, some of them, many of them, a lot of Black folk grow up Christian, identify as Christian. So having that so deeply ingrained with you, it's like a conflict of issues. You can't really, you have to pick either. It's like you feel you have to pick one side, either be Christian or you be LGBTQ. You just can't pick one. And that's what so many people struggle with, that mentally and emotionally. And I feel like it's something that doesn't really get talked about enough. Now, yes, nowadays there are some more LGBTQ friendly churches and pastors, which is awesome. That's good to see. But there's still that hole, especially with our unique story with the Black history and Black church, how it played a huge part in that history. So it's hard for a lot of folks to get away from that. For me personally, I was in religious growing up. I mean, I did grow up in the Black church. I went to church every Sunday, went to Bible study, vacation Bible schools, whatnot. But me, when I went to college, went away for college, like just stopped going to church. I felt like much happier, like because I was a fourth down my throat, but that's a whole separate video.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? I see a whole lot of potential soapboxes. Talk to me.
I think for me, I feel like a lot of y'all grew up in the South or down South, and I'm a Midwest boy.
Northwest. I grew up in Washington State too. So
yeah. So like for me, like my parents cultivated my life. We grew up Catholic, so my first religion was Catholicism, Catholic, and then my mom transitioned to Christianity, and then everybody transferred to Christianity. I think for me, religion is what religion is. To me, God is love. God loves everyone. I think for me, that's where it lies. Perspectives can be utilized. Religion can be utilized as a weapon. It can be utilized as anything that it wants to be. And I think people forget the fundamentals of what God means, and God is love. But I think for me, when it goes to religion, the Black community, I feel like queerness, gay people are considered weak, not normal, not natural, because of the Bible as it speaketh. So I think for me, I don't have issues with that. I can agree to disagree. But for me, my parents never raised me like that. I was raised in a loving home with opinions, feelings, drive, spirit, follow your dreams, live how you want to live. So it was never like that, So I think for me, everybody's life and perspectives are different. So I don't know. For me, in religion go hand in hand, but we're adjacent. We're a fault.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. I
I
always
will-
find it interesting that Catholics say I transitioned to Christianity, because I always thought that Catholics were a sect of or form of Christianity.
I mean, Catholicism, Catholics. I mean, Catholics is a very strict religion. Like I
Yeah.
did like communion, you know, priesthood, all that stuff. You know, and then
Yeah, the rest of the Christians are a little more laid back. Like, just say you're sorry, it's all good.
Yeah, so I mean, I have both perspectives, honestly.
I'll
Greg, go ahead, Greg.
I also started off as a Catholic. A lot of I have a Haitian background. A lot of Haitians are like you're pretty much forced into Catholicism.
Mhm.
You know, and so that was one of the things growing up, and I was the first in my family to become a non-denomination Christian, very similar to what Ryan is saying. And I think that sort of opened the floodgates for like my mom getting out of Catholicism and so on and so forth. But upon my I guess, you know, becoming a teen and constantly hearing like, oh, the Bible's against this, the Bible's against that, you know, you can't love another guy if you're a guy and all this other shit. And so that was a huge struggle for me. And I think that sort of built a deep depression within me, starting to realize that, well, I feel like I've always realized my sexuality since like kindergarten age, but you know, as I'm getting older and the hormones are like raging, you know, and you're starting to want to dabble, but then at the same time, I had like a very strong Christian faith, and so that was a huge struggle for me. That was something that I used to always pray, just like, please get rid of this, get rid of this. But I think as I got older, I started, you know, researching more and started learning more about just Black culture, Black history, and getting into that period of how a lot of organized religion was forced onto Black people in order to make them be obedient during the slavery times. I think that started shaping my mind. I started questioning so much, including like, you know, so does that mean people who were the indigenous Americans before they got introduced to religion, does that mean they're going to hell? You know, so it was like all these questions that I was having. And I think when I finally came out to my mom, and I think I was just very hurt by her choosing the Bible and religion over me, you know, and saying some fucked up shit to me, you know, like, oh, I wish for the first time in all these years, I wish you were my son, you know, and shit like that. And using the Bible to justify what she's saying, I think that sort of made me very bitter against Christianity. And knowing that this is a mentality that so many Christians have, especially against their own children, against their own family members. And even hearing shit like, oh, if you were on drugs, that would have been easier to get out of you instead of this skull game and shit. And I'm just like, well,
I've heard that before. I've
Yeah.
heard that from my dad.
stuff like that. Even though my mom has apologized, it's just one of those things that's never ever gonna.
You're never gonna forget what she said.
Never gonna forget that, you know. And I think since then, I've definitely have like a very unfair sort of bias against Christianity because of my situation with that. So whenever I see a lot of queer men queer people who are just so still very like Christian, I'm just like really? You know, and it's one of those things where I have respect for people regardless of what they believe in, but I'm still very confused by it, especially with all the history of how much things have been changed because of man, you know, and how they've been used to weaponize, not even just against gay people, but against Black people,
against a whole lot of people.
So many people. And then those same people are just so like, oh, I'm about Christianity, the Bible, this about. It confuses the fuck out of me, to be honest. It's just, I know for me, it's just not me.
I saw a reel earlier today, as a matter of fact, and it was a psychologist, and she was discussing the fact. She goes, I want to say she said 70, the number might be off, 70% of Black people that call themselves Christians are functionally illiterate. And I sat with that like, wow, that's saying a lot. But then when she brought it up, she goes, first of all, most of them are reading the King James Bible because for some reason they believe that is the official version of the Bible. But and I've said this before in my past, if you don't understand Shakespeare, you don't understand the King James version of the Bible because it's the exact same syntax. There's even people that have said like Shakespeare may have rewritten. It's been translated way too many times to have much veracity anymore. But people don't read the Bible. They just say the Bible says. And they have no idea what's really in it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to back off something that Greg said. Christianity, especially within the Black community in America, was heavily forced within our community because of slavery, because of Jim Crow and things like that. So for me growing up, I grew up in like super Christian households and was in and out of the church every day. And I never understood the relationship or the correlation between the Black family and like how much emphasis they put on their religion in the church and the community. On one hand, I understand the community aspect of it, but on the other hand, like Greg said, like once you learn the truth that Christianity was used to enslave us, to forget our past, our history, our names, and where we came from, it's kind of hard to go to church on Sunday, just being honest. So when I learned that, I studied different religions and looked in some certain things, and just things I found, how I saw the world after that, let me just say, just kind of changed my perspective on life. Like, look at the current state of the world now, especially like with Christianity in America, with white Christian nationalism and how they're using their religion to force their viewpoints and beliefs on the rest of the world, rest of them
again,
country, right? And it's so much there to unpack. We got a president that can't even hold the Bible correctly and says things like 2 Corinthians, and he's such a good Christian, and now he's in the news saying he doesn't believe he's going to get into heaven. I mean, seriously,
he said.
This is not a political show. We will not do this episode.
But I do want to piggyback just on a point that you made about Christianity being the religion of the oppressor, because if you look at even from a color study, if you look at, we'll just take Great Britain as an example. When you think of London, you think of gray, you think of stone, you think of okay, Bianca. But you think of gray, you think of stone, you think of drab, colorless, lifeless, and holier than thou. It doesn't get any more white and any more supremacist than the royal family in Great Britain. They are white supremacy, right? And then that religion being pushed on others to the point about being the religion of the oppressors. You send the missionaries in, and now you know why it's called missionary position, but you send the missionaries in, right, to try to save the so-called local savages. And think about, if you go to Ghana, if you go to Bali, if you go to China, even like the continent of Africa, if you go to South America, there's so much vibrancy, so much color, so many different shapes and everything just in the area. And Christianity came and said, shut that down. In addition to multiple genders, a whole lot of other civilizations had multiple genders, and Christianity was like, no, we don't do that. And then here we are because if you didn't convert, you're more likely to be killed. People converted out of survival, and then it became ingrained from generation to generation. Don't question this, because to question it is to put yourself in danger. And now we've just come to don't question it, and it's gone for even further to the Bible said. And now anybody can pick up a Bible, upside down and hold it and be like, oh, the Bible said that this is wrong, and just make up stuff. And we see that all the time.
I was going to make a point. At least for me, when it came to, I'm not religious. Like, I pretty much came out of atheist from college, though, although closeted. But like a lot of them said, hearing about, seeing how, growing up, especially in the Black church, growing up, seeing, especially in the Bible Belt, you seeing people being preached, talking about how they're holier than thou, but then they'll go to church, sing it loudly, but then when they go to the restaurant, they treat the wait staff horribly, don't leave a tip or anything like that. Or why Jesus is white, or like learning how Jesus became white, or learning about how the fact, like, growing up learning about was it Noah's Ark, right? and learning how every other culture had their version of the Great Flood. They had their version of Noah's Ark, some of whom predated Noah's Ark, or learning about how Christmas, Easter became a Christian holiday. And it's like, wondering, like, what I've been learning this all the time.
Yeah.
That didn't help a lot.
It's an amalgamation of a whole lot of other
so many things. And like you said earlier, too, like how like every culture has some form of what we call LGBTQ nowadays. Did homophobia and transphobia exist in their cultures? Yeah, sure, of course, it's human. But when the Abrahamic religions, particularly when Christianity started to spread, that's where you're seeing where what they use, like these Leviticus, whatever, no man shall lie, blah blah blah.
And that really, so speaking of Leviticus, there's a movie I think that's coming together. I want to say it's called 1946, and it talks about the fact that hypothetically, according to the movie, I haven't done the research on it, but in 1946, that passage was reinterpreted to mean man with man, but originally the interpretation was man with child, man with boy. So it's really an admonition against pedophilia and not homosexuality. And then think about also the way so many people want to equate pedophilia and homosexuality, when really the pedophile problem is somewhere else, and it is not. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
So funny you brought that up. So I've been wondering, like, why does the certain right-wing movement believe that we're the pedophiles when in the news every day you hear is another pastor, another priest, another
youth group leader,
right? People used to shuffle the Catholic priests around like the cards,
But we're the problems. We're the problems.
And let's be real, like that's the ones we see in the news. That's like a fraction of how many churches throughout U.S. history who swept under the rug, like, hey, paid hush money to the youth group leader, or to the musician, to the choir director. Hey, take this money and go to the next church. Don't come back.
Yeah.
So
who knows how many P3DOs they had in the churches, and not just in the black churches, like on all the denominations of Christianity in the USA and globally. That have been protected by the pastors.
I have a weird question. And I'm not Catholic, but it is something that's been on my mind. Why does the Catholic Church protect pedophiles and priests who have been accused more than they protect members of the LGBT community? That's never made sense to me.
In short, again, this is my opinion. Saving face, it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment, and they don't want to admit to it. So rather than just say, hey, we have some bad actors in here that we needed to get out, that would be admitting that you and your divine knowledge made this mistake and allowed this into your church. And since, it's all divine, the cardinal appointees and all that other kind of stuff, and God does make mistakes, and Pope is blah, 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 all that other kind of stuff, they just like, no, that didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. And then hide them and bury them, etc. But then when you need a common enemy, you pick one, and they picked homosexuals, and it was something that could be a common enemy throughout every country. Every race, every ethnicity could hate that group. You see what I mean?
Yep.
Because if they had picked black people, well, they ain't gonna fly in Korea. Ain't no black people there. It's not gonna fly. And Asian as a whole is the largest demographic. So if you want to be able to control them, you pick something that they can also hate. And I think it was one of the earlier comments that said Christianity is built on hate. On I am better than you, and therefore I hate you, and I need to get rid of you. Hello, Crusades, right?
Yeah.
And money. So you know what? I don't want to take over this because again, I do inclusion and diversity stuff by day. So I could talk about this for the next 2-3 days. Right. So I'm going to be quiet for a second, but I do, I'm not. I got one more thing I want to say. Ryan, going back to something you said earlier around homosexual men being perceived as weak. There's an intersection there between homophobia and misogyny, specifically misogynoir, if you want to get really into our community, because the idea, and I'm just speaking from the observations I've made talking to straight men, and Lord have mercy, but the idea that a man would quote unquote give up his power is off-putting to them, but also they know what they do to women, and they fear what y'all might do to them in the same situation.
Facts.
And that fear drives a lot of the anger. That's why they get so upset when someone may compliment them or hit on them. If they discover that someone is transgender and they didn't know, they feel like they're about to get done the way they probably would do women.
Right.
And the resulting violence comes. But
true. But I want to say something with transgender women. I can promise you, like 7 to 8 times out of 10, the guys know. We know. We're talking trans women. Either the trans woman told them, like, hey, just so you know, we're trans, or, and this is most likely the case, they saw them on the apps and still slid to the DMs.
It was 100% right.
Yeah, listen. I'm a member of the Man of Culture Club. I promise y'all when I say this.
100% right.
Most of the guys, majority. Now, are there some who do lie? Yes, it is rare, but more times than not, the guys know, and they don't want. They're afraid their horrible, shameful secret would get out.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And
the whole thing about that is that guys don't want
I'll talk more about it in the next topic, I guess, the next subject about that. So I can talk more about that. Why somebody fall into that?
Yeah, black man with masculinity.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. I can talk about that because I can speak. I was DL. I can speak on a whole about
everybody. And I can't. I only can speak from my experience. Everybody is raised differently. So my father is not like that. My father is a very open man, loving man. He listens. A lot of people don't listen. Okay, that's the first mistake. People don't listen to each other, and people don't understand each other anymore. I think that's where we have lost the sense of humanity, in my perspective. That people don't care about people's existence. And I see with a lot of in blackness in general, being gay for a lot of people is foreign. They will never understand it. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They don't want to understand it. So in a community of our people, it's, like I said, considered weak because it's a threat. A threat in general. And in my mind, in a lot of people's minds, a lot of people want to understand it. And that's my point.
I see what you mean. Q, anything you want to add? You've been quiet.
Oh no, I mean, they hit on a lot of good points. From the fact that Christianity, I am agnostic. So I believe a higher power, but who the higher power is up in the air. I grew up Southern Baptist, so of course that kind of deterred me from being a member and being an ally instead, because I was worried about what people were going to say about it. But I have been on various social media sites and various groups. In college, I hung around a lot of LGBTQ people, and so I got to see what their side of life was like as a ally then, but I didn't realize. But it is a lot of people who are scared of being found out. And I don't know if y'all know about Alfred Kinsey. He did a Kinsey scale.
Yeah.
So that's what I base a lot of stuff on. Nobody's truly hetero, and nobody's truly homo. People are somewhere.
A spectrum.
Yes. And so that's the problem. People try to be more on one side than they are really. And that's the problem. People trying to hide that they do have feelings towards the other way. And like you said, with guys trying to feel like they're giving up power by saying be hit on by another person. They feel like they're giving up that power. But honestly, as a guy, to be complimented by another guy, anybody, period, it feels good because we don't get that normally. And so that's also part of how we raised. You're not allowed to have emotions. You're not allowed to feel thankful that somebody says, hey, you look good in the outfit today. So it's a lot of that kind of what held me up, I know, from being more open about stuff like this. Even though I felt this way, I would try to crowd check people before I say stuff.
Right. And we are social creatures. So we grow up wanting to be a part of or part of the in crowd, the in group, etc. And if we feel like this thing that we've felt it's not going to be accepted by the in group. We have a tendency to want to hide it. And again, that goes back, we're going to get off Christianity soon, but again, that goes back to the idea of Christianity saying none of this is allowed, none of this is right. You're going to hell. If you go to hell for sin, then the liars, the cheaters, all of them, they're right next to me. So why am I being singled out? When didn't you just covet your neighbor's ass or whatever? I mean, why? That's specifically a commandment, right? But going into religion as a way to oppress and to denigrate and to exclude, then yeah, when we get to our time now, people feel like I can't say anything about this. I can't admit that I feel this way. It leads to depression and suicide in addition to living half a life. You know what I mean? And all it would take is for people to, one, mind your business, right? And then two, allow folks to be happy. Why is that so hard? Well, it seems to me that Christianity is very focused on suffering. And if you're not suffering, you're not a good Christian, which is crazy to me. But trans attracted and pansexual. Can you elaborate on these? Would anybody like to elaborate on these?
I can elaborate on pansexual.
Yes, that's all yours.
Yeah, I'm only on 10 here. Pansexual people, we are more attracted to what's in the mind, not the body. So we look for intellect that can match our intellect, and it's not about guy or girl. It's just about we want somebody who can just get us off mentally, pretty much. And then Phil does trans. So you want to do trans?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, most, like a lot of guys, especially we hear on the 9 o'clock news, a lot of guys, what we call trans attracted. What's a very misconception of us is like that we only want gay men. Like, no, we don't. We don't want them. That's all yours. Too masculine for me. They look like JoJo Bizarre Adventure characters. No. JoJo Bizarre Adventure Butch Queens. Too masculine. But no, for a lot of us, what makes us different compared to most gay men, and trans will tell you, gay men don't want trans women. Like that's not them. They want more masculine. And for us, we like more. I guess what likes us is the femininity, the aura, the energy that they give off that's completely different than what gay men can never give. Mm-hmm. And yes, let's keep it all the way. Yeah, the parts are there. That's what the fact is. But again, it's just that it's something different that a lot of us find attractive. Like, I wanted to get to know this person. Like, I really vibe with this person. Like, could I date a normal cis woman? Absolutely. But deep down, I know myself. I know I'll be wasting both of our times. Like, I know why. So why would I waste another grown, natural woman's time and energy? She could be an awesome person, be an awesome partner, but the attraction's not there. I'm wasting both of our time, especially at my age of 34, right? So why not go for somebody I'm attracted to, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Now, to piggyback off of what he just said, now, reason I found out I was pan, because I thought I was bi-curious for a while.
Yeah.
But then, like you said about, there's some trans that are just straight man looking. To me, the ones that be like trying to be girl but still be man looking wasn't attractive to me. And so that's when I found out that I was more attracted to the mind. Like the ones who try to be the ideal of what a woman is was not attractive to me.
Okay. And just a side note or an addition on pansexual and bisexual and asexual and a lot of the other things that end in sexual. It don't make people freaks, right? I want anybody in the sound of my voice to understand that just because you may be attracted to multiple genders or multiple expressions doesn't mean you're attracted to everything walking down the street. Right. Right. And, just because you're gay don't mean you're attracted to all men or all women. If you're a lesbian, just because, like, I'm heterosexual, but just because I'm heterosexual don't mean I want not nary one of these fools over here. Right. Everybody's discerning. Everybody has types and tastes and likes and dislikes. But this idea that we're not getting into this tonight. The idea that because you are anything other than heterosexual, that you are just for the streets is stupid. And I want everybody to recognize the hypocrisy in that. That's just me.
And y'all be surprised the amount of brothers who be into the trans women. Like, you be shocked.
Yeah, I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it.
Oh yeah. Plus, I'll put it like this: a lot of gay men hate us, particularly. I'll put it like this, because they see us on the apps. They try, and speaking from experience, the amount of gay men who be in my DMs and get mad at me, I'm telling them, like, hey, I ain't for you. I'm here for the dolls, and they get mad at me.
Like, the same way they get mad at the same way a straight man might get mad at me when they were like, "Hey, girl, you fine." I'm like, "Not you." And they're like, you know it, That,
right? I'm like, bro, it's like right there in the profile, like the first thing you see. Like, how you miss that?
Because they want to.
Yep.
People see what they want to see.
Right.
So let's move on, because we are already, we're already like 40 minutes in. But I thought the religion was good, a conversation. I really like where this was going, like more of the definitions. And I think it's good for us to talk about it as a group anyway, because there's a lot of folks that are within the LGBTQ community that don't understand all the letters. You know what I mean?
Me too. We're like on the plus side. Even I think what also made it hard for a lot of guys when it comes to trans tracks is that we don't have anybody within the LGBTQ space who relates to us. Like, there's no one we can talk to. Like, say, for gay men, like, you guys got elders. Like, everywhere you look, you got more elders. You got people you can talk to close to your age and older. Whereas, like, for us, it's like, who not talking about this stuff? Like, who can't go to a relationship and advice? And that's why you see so many men, lash out on advice towards trans women. Because, again, I'm sure deep down, if they had somebody to legit sit down and talk with, there's some type of support group they had to reach out and talk to, because that's what helped me a lot with my journey. The fact that during COVID happened, because lockdown happened, and then I found out there's a podcast, a support group called Men Like Us. So there's like a big podcast / support group, Facebook support group for other men, particularly with other Black men who are also trans attracted. And me seeing that, I was like, oh my God, finally, I'm not alone anymore. I thought I was the only one out there. So from that, it helped me with my journey, at least.
And that goes back to, there's a question that Robert Majette asked earlier. Does anyone see any positive representation growing up?
No.
No.
I think the closest I've seen for us was recently, what's that show? Pose?
Pose, yeah.
I remember it was Blanco was dating that one doctor, the brother who was a doctor. Like, that's probably the closest thing I've seen towards a brother dating a trans woman. Because a lot of times, if you do see something, it's usually because, oh snap, trans women lied about being trans.
Yes, that I remember.
Or a lot of cases, like me growing up, Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that a lot of that, drama, whatever that was written and said that trans women lie about being trans was written by not them. You know what I'm saying?
Usually a gay man, some straight dude, but usually sometimes the gay dudes. But yes, and I think that would help a lot too. Just like most things media, it would help to see. Now I'm not asking like say it could be like, to be level, like give us something like a normal relationship, like hey, a couple going out shopping, doing normal stuff, like And I think that would help a lot, and that would definitely help tone down the violence, make more guys feel more seen if they see others. Because that helped, like I said, that helped me a lot to actually see other men who've been in similar boat situations when it comes to dating trans women, who, when it comes to introducing them to their partner, to their families, like if I got questions, I can go to them easily, no problem. And I think that's what will help a lot of guys in our case.
I would say that I'm probably close to the oldest one here. I'm 41.
Yeah,
older than you, man. Way older than you, brother.
Okay, I'm the youngest. All right.
Yeah, when I hear 30, I see. But when now that I look back at the characters from different shows, there's a lot of pansexual characters, but I didn't know it was pansexual. Like one of my favorite characters is Deadpool. He's pansexual.
Yep.
Like Lando Calrissian from Star
Wars.
Yeah, really? He's pansexual. So like R2, cartoon characters now they're pansexual, but you wouldn't know it until you actually look at the characters. But you wouldn't know this because pansexual
if the conservatives ever find out about Steven Universe, it's going to be a problem.
Oh yeah.
Oh please, they're on Grindr anyway. We already know.
So we're not going to talk about how the Republicans always crash Grindr whenever they come to town. But I do want to go back to the idea of dating and networking. So how have you found it, or how did you find it when you were, as I know, like Rana, you've been married for like 10 years.
I'm going to check out on this one, sister. I'm going to check out on this.
Say what?
I'm going to
You'll
check out.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't apply to this category.
So how is, I know the dating scene is right as a straight woman in Atlanta, and honestly, I don't think it'll be better anywhere else. I don't think it's people like, oh, you didn't get married. Yeah, it ain't better. It's not better.
Back in 1998, 1999. Okay.
How do you navigate the dating scene? Like, because I understand there's apps which, you know, kind of narrow your, kind of refine your search, but like just out in the streets or like at a party or whatever, like, how is that? How's that an experience for you?
Oh my God.
Oh, I guess.
Ooh, y'all go first. We'll come back to me. It's
okay. I'll go first. I'll go first. Dating as a Black gay man in Atlanta is terrible, especially like I'm just gonna be honest. It's terrible because it's a lot of people just trying to pretend to be nice so they get something out of you or just use you. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of everybody takes the same bus route. If you get that reference, it's small. It is small. Like once you go around, you go around. It's not a lot out there. I've been hit up by people who wanted to just like network to get free video work out of me. Which was crazy because we could have just did the free video work. You didn't have to whine and dine.
My emotions. Yeah.
Right. You play with my emotions so you can get some free work when you could have just got the free work. Because I'm like, I'm giving away this video and photography stuff for like pennies on the dollar. Like, come on, like, you know. But even if you're like just trying to find somebody who you're interested in, it's all about the aesthetics. It's all about like what you look like and what you can do for somebody else and what you can provide for them and, you know, how much money you got and blah, blah, blah. It's a lot. Nobody cares about you as the individual, especially like on the queer side of it in Atlanta. Phil, I think you were the one who told me at Dragon Con you went to Black Gay Pride and you got a lot of attention because you were the only one there who dared to be different and be on the nerdy side while everybody else is just trying to flaunt wealth and money.
Clothes, new kicks and everything. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's you and that's other people too. Like, is this a Black gay LGBT thing? Is this just a Black Atlanta thing? I didn't know. So.
It is definitely an Atlanta thing because my friends in other cities, they don't have these issues. When I've lived in DC, don't get me wrong, it's a smaller pool, but didn't have a lot of these issues. So like in Atlanta, I just don't date. And I want to bring up a thing about the app. So like I never really went out and met people in person on a sexual level like that. Like maybe it would just be a coincidence or something in college, but I grew up in the apps like A for A, Adam for Adam, Grindr, Bigger City, all those apps. Use them at your own risk, and you get what you get. You just get what you get. It's you shaking the bag, and I hope this is the one or whatever you're looking for, and you just pull it out. But it can be fun, it can be exciting, but it's also like dangerous. Luckily, I haven't had any issues, but like I hear on the news all the time. Consenting adults being, you know, arrested or accosted because of X, Y, and Z through the dating apps, getting scammed through the dating apps, through the sex apps. It's a wild place. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at
that. That whole first season of Alex Cross that was on Amazon was dealing with a serial killer and he was using dating apps to find people. Great show.
It was fun. Season 2 comes out next month.
Oh, awesome. I've been waiting on that to come back. So, but okay, so beyond the dating apps, how have you found your community? You know, because like we all ended up here on this channel today together, and I've seen some of y'all before. I follow some of y'all. I do have one of the first editions of It's Nana the Were Spider, by the way. You know, and so I know how I found out of y'all through nerd stuff. But I'm wondering, like, when did you find, or have you found your community?
I mean, I come from the late '90s and 2000s. I come from the rave scene. I found my community in like '97. So like, I've left that scene because I'm fucking old. So like, at this point, I think for me, I don't know how people are today. When I was in my community, it was more of a family. I went off to college, found my community there. And then when I got sick and came back and finished college, still had my community. It was still community based in Clemmons and all that stuff. So like my community has never left. I'm just not strictly part of the community anymore, because after 30 you're dead basically. So and
a lot of age in
way
there.
past fucking 30. So for me, I think for me, I enjoy my quiet little gay life at home. So, and, you know, and I'm a homebody anyways. I think for other people out there who are young, you know, I think there's a lot more naivety, like a lot of yeah, due to the fact that gay is now more accepted. It's more common in television. It's more expressed. You know, there's a lot more things that when I was growing up did not exist. None of that shit exists. So, like, I think for me, seeing people being in their own culture, finding their own tribe, finding their own, you know, family is nice to see. I just feel sometimes they don't know enough about our history. I know enough about where we come from. Don't know enough how they got there. It's brilliant when you're born in 2000, 2001, 2002 and shit, where you can live an open, free life and enjoy all the fundamentals of what the fuck we had to do to get there in the first place. So I think for me, I'm just an old gay man now, and I fucking love it.
How old are you?
No, I'm not disclosing that information.
Okay. Well, I am 51, so I do believe I'm the oldest person here.
I am 45 years old.
Y'all still got some mileage left in the tank and whatnot. But yeah, the gray is real. So
looks good.
I would say for me, since I would go for intelligence, a lot of these people I meet are within that space, intelligence space, like something that I like. So like nerdy spaces and stuff. So like not a dating app, stuff like that. I would say that I am pansexual. I have a handful of guys who I would give a chance to, but haven't yet. But it's only a small handful, and they know who they are. But other than that, it's for a guy to even get to that level. It takes a lot to get to that level with me because I will need to see what's behind the ears, pretty much.
I got you. I
think, I guess for me, my community, I was in nerdy stuff. Obviously, you know, I found Mark. He found me. I think either you followed me first or I followed you on TikTok. I don't remember how we found each other. But you found me in my nerd groups. You know, here like doing the Pokemon, Smash Bros, other fighting game tournaments. Now for me, for other chance to try the guy, like I said before, find that podcast / that Facebook support group in 2020, and seeing other trans attracted black men who also had similar stories, who had the Jerry Springer awakening. Also seeing that, I mean, look, I looking back, not the best reputation, but a lot of guys got into the dolls because of Jerry Springer. But really though, just to see other black men, so really close to my age and older, a couple of guys who are also into nerdy stuff too. Chris, he's in Houston, who's the founder of the group. Again, just having that community aspect, being able to, like I said, if I ever have problems, which I did have, come dating, ran into a situation with somebody, and I talked to them like, hey guys, I'm dealing with this person, blah, blah, blah. How would you handle this, you know? And just having that community of guys who had a similar experience is like, hey, you got to do this or walk away. So just having that sort of that brotherhood, just having the community helped me a lot. I kind of want to circle back a little bit though, but going back to the dating side of things, Atlanta, Mark did warn me, other guys did warn me. It has been a struggle out here. A lot of times, even especially on the apps, a lot of the trans women who are on the apps, they're only there for money, to make money. They're working adult work, which I got no problem with. But we trying to finding somebody who's not into that lifestyle, that's even harder. And then on top of that, trying to find somebody, okay, yeah, they're nice, they're pretty, but looks are nice, but just when it comes to anybody long-term relationships, do I enjoy talking to them? Is somebody like, okay, can I talk with them more as a friend, or is it somebody talking like, you know what, I want to know how your day was, type of stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or just like kind of like that sit in silence, just chill type of stuff. So it has been difficult. I have had dates here and there on the apps, so sexual ones, but nothing serious yet. Although I did meet somebody literally over, doing Atlanta Pride at the festival, one of the booths, which I did not plan it at all. But so we've been out going out pretty much for the past week.
Okay, good.
So, we'll see. Hopefully, I would love to take this further. I may have fucked it up today. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope I didn't fuck it up. But I do like
call and talk it out.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from it. The worst thing, and I see this with a lot of men, regardless of sexual orientation or expression, is if I just don't talk about it, it'd be all right to go away.
Right, because I did ask, like we went out earlier today, and I did ask her, you want to try to make it official? And she did kind of say, hey, we'll see. This is about like our fifth time going out, about fourth, fifth time going out.
Okay.
And I got a text message earlier, about a couple hours before this, talking about we need to seriously talk. I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Anxiety.
Yeah, like my thing is like, did I come on too strong? Did I come on too fast? What did I do? So me, like, I overthink things. So like my RPG wired brain is like, oh god, what did I do? How did I strategize? I'm planning for this.
I don't think you came on too strong or too fast. I do think it probably was a little overwhelming, especially if someone that isn't used to someone being serious.
Right. Well, she's looking for somebody serious. She's been married before, but the person she was with was the DL dude. Like, so not even his family knew about it until the last minute, and that's when things worked out. So,
okay.
But yeah.
Well, yeah. Don't. When she said that we need to seriously talk, let her lead the conversation. Don't be like, "Hey, I'm sorry for that." No, just what do you want to talk about, and then let her lead the conversation, and then just be honest.
All right.
Yeah, I wish you the best. I wish luck. I wish luck for everybody trying to be in a relationship.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Oh, I want to go ahead and take the question next. About what was the question? I'm sorry. Finding your tribe and your community.
Yes.
On the one hand, I do feel like I found a community, but it isn't because of the queerness. And on the other hand, obviously, no, I don't think I found the community because I guess I'm so niche within queerness. There's nobody else like me out there who can relate. Or at least that's what I'm finding. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but
how do you identify, Mark?
Say what?
How do you identify?
I'm gay. But also I'm like an onion. There's layers. Like, there's more to it than just that. Like, especially like within just the gay community, like, there's this whole discourse about femininity within a man and masculinity and tops and bottoms, and I have done so much in my life. I realize I like very particular things, and I've done all these things. I know what I like, and that's just what I want. And when I find a community of people, I get, especially when it comes to the queer side of it, I get close, but I get like apprehensive. Like, I still feel like I don't fully belong for some reason. And I realize there's a lot of stuff like within me, like re-education, de-education I gotta do about like internalized homophobia, blackness. Like, I'm still reeling from stuff my mama told me 20 years ago about being gay, and now she's like my biggest ally. And I'm like, it's weird. Stop being my cheerleader. No, I don't want you to hook me up with nobody. Like, it's weird you're being so accepting when I needed the support, you was throwing the Bible at me saying I'm an abomination, and you didn't even know about me then. But, you know, you had speculation. So now I'm just like, I don't know how to proceed, especially like when it comes to like the family issues. Like, Ryan, you say you're married. Marriage is one of my goals. I want to have a husband.
Mark, I was there in DC walking to get marriage rights, brother. Like, I was there in DC walking.
And, you know, this time next year,
Lady Gaga, all them bitches. Yeah.
This time next year, we may not even have that right to do that because of everything going on. But again, not trying to go political, but
yeah, but Mark, don't do that to yourself. I feel like there's an apprehension to yourself because you don't believe in yourself. And that fear is something that you do not need at all, ever in life. I understand that, your life is different from mine and everybody's perspective is different from you, but be proud of who you are. Always. Always. Don't ever do that to yourself. Don't ever.
Okay. Here's my question to you, though. How can you be proud of who you are when you have spent your whole life being told who you are is
right.
wrong?
Yeah. And that's something when I say perspective, that's something I did not have in my life. So I can't understand that nor relate to that right now because I never experienced that. And the unfortunate part about that, it's very sad for me to hear that because of the fact that you experienced that and you don't have that proudness in you and that life of being a proud gay man. And that's the thing that hurts me about when you grew up like that. I can't relate to that, unfortunately. I did come out to my parents, but my parents accepted me. I know a lot of people's parents do not. They've had terrible experiences and harsh things being said to them, abandoned, kicked out, all that stuff. So that's something I can't relate to nor understand, but it still hurts me because these people are part of my community and it hurts. That somebody that raised them, loved them, kicked them to the curb because they're gay. That shit is rough. And that shit still happens today, every fucking day.
Yep.
I still have friends who will introduce me or family members who will introduce me like, oh, he's Mark, he's blah, blah, blah. He's gay, but he's one of the normal ones.
Oh,
or he's
irritating.
and I'm just sitting there just like,
there's no response to that.
And that's what really pisses me off when, my gay friend or this gay guy over here, that shit pisses me off so much. It's like, we have to throw that shit in there because now gay defines it. Like, that shit is stupid.
I try to tell people that, like, you wouldn't want somebody walking around saying, this is my black friend.
Right.
This is my friend. She's
right.
black, but she's cool. Like, you wouldn't want somebody to say that. So why are you using just a portion of who they are, a portion of their identity to be the only deciding factor in how you think of them? So
like
a whole lot of growing up to do.
Like my mayonnaise friend is coming over here. My mayo's coming over here. That's like that shit right there. I'm not doing that shit. Like,
I would say that growing up, I have heard that a lot. Like people will say, "Oh, so they're gay." Like you don't have to put that on to there. And then it's like, "Oh, they got to be they probably going through my stuff, doing this and doing that." No, just you assuming that that's the characteristic, but it's not.
It's not. Right. There, promiscuity, people try to tie it to the entire LGBTQ community when honestly, the biggest whores I know
are straight people.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark, I want to touch on something really quickly though.
Okay.
You said, how can I be proud of something I've been told my whole life not to be proud of it? Bro, that's the Black experience.
Yep.
You need to think about it.
That's the thing. I've been told to be black and proud and all this and that. Growing up, I have no problems waving that flag or the geek flag.
My point is,
when it comes to sexuality, sorry, go ahead.
My point is, it's an internal awakening, flip switch, however you want to call it, where one day you stop worrying about how other people see you and start recognizing that you love you for who you are, regardless of what other people think. And so being proud of who you are is a decision that you make and not a permission that you ask of for somebody else, right? And so if you want to be proud of who you are, start affirming that, old school in the mirror. You know what? I look good. I'm fine. I would use my own story. It's not the same, but I thought I was ugly. I thought I was fat. I thought I was overweight, all these things until I was 27 years old. And the reason I remember the year is because I was sitting in office. It was me and my friend Danny. He was, because you had to bring a man with you. He was trying to buy a house. He wasn't even my boyfriend. It's just Danny, come with me. So we're sitting there waiting to do all the closing, and I look at a mirror and I think, wow, she's really pretty. And I didn't realize It was a mirror. I thought I was watching, some other woman. And I realized that was me. And it shook me to my core. And I actually said out loud, I'm really pretty. The first time I thought about it. Danny thought that was hilarious. He laughs at me now about that story. Because for him, he's like, it's obvious you were pretty. How do you not know that? I never heard it growing up. I was always not good enough. I was always, if you just lose some weight, maybe a man will like you. If you just do this, well, maybe you should do this. Put on some more makeup, wear something low cut. This is my mother trying to pimp me out for years. And it took a moment of me recognizing, one, I wasn't what they said I was. And two, I'm tired of listening to them. And I actually told my mother one day, you know what, if you keep talking to me like this, I'm just quit calling you because you're bad for my mental health. And she told me I was being silly and blah, blah, blah. I said, try me though. See if I call you again, if you talk to me like this again. And then she cried and then we had it all this kind of stuff. But it took me saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I like me. And that's what I want for you, Mark. You see what I mean? And so everybody can tell you everything about who they think you need to be, but you only have to love you. Right? And if you love yourself, other people will see that light. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Can I piggyback on a little bit of this?
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things I want you to think about, Mark. So one saying that I've always took from when I was in science class in high school. I had a biology teacher, and at one point we were learning about photosynthesis, with the whole plants and all that other stuff. My science teacher stopped the lesson a quick bit, and she was just like, okay, so we're going out of the lesson because there's something I need you guys to understand. As you guys are getting older, you guys are at an age where you might start dealing with a lot of life issues. You're going to be dealing with depression and so on and so forth. And she had this plant, and she said, I want you to imagine yourself as this plant. Now you can see there are dead leaves here. But once you remove all the dead leaves, which is supposed to represent negativity, the people weighing you down, the mentality weighing you down, everything that's weighing you down, you can clip them out of this plant. Now you bring the nourishment. You bring the stuff that makes you happy. You bring the people that brings you happy, the community that you're looking for. Once you start to nourish yourself with all of that, and you're removing the dead leaves at the same time, you will blossom again. It doesn't mean that the plant is dead. There's still room for this plant to grow and prosper. So that's always something that I've always remembered and taken to heart. And every day is always a journey. And through these journeys, just like every story that you read, there's always obstacles. There's always going to be people who's going to get in the way and is going to totally forget, like, wait, no, I am the shit, But it's to always remember that it's a process, and sometimes it's harder one day than it is the next day, but you can still find who you are in the long run and who you are at heart. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And I've gone through many, many years of hating myself as well. But I'm not going to say as well, of putting myself down, of being very confused, trying to figure myself out. And then I will always remember the second thing I was going to say, when I was in high school, trying to figure out who the fuck I was and this whole sexuality thing. Like, do I like girls? Do I like guys? What is it do I like? And I'm getting so boggered by it until one of my very, very straight friends was just like, dude, instead of just trying to figure out who you are, why don't you just be yourself? That's it. He was like, just be. And it's such a simple ass fucking thing to think about, but like we're so in our heads about trying to figure out things and who we are. And it was just like, wait, yeah, I can just fucking be. If I like this, I like that, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that changed my perspective. I just needed somebody to just fucking tell me that. So I don't know what you're going to take from it, but just know that many of us have dealt with what you're dealing with, as well as people saying this is what you are, what you need to do. In the end of the day, you block them motherfuckers out, you cut them dead leaves out, and you just find the shit that makes you who you are, makes you happy.
And this question that EJ has, and thank you for joining us, EJ. How do you just be? It's harder than it sounds. Yeah, it's harder than it sounds. It's an intentional thing. You have to put energy into it. And you also have to recognize that the energy that you have in any given day, it's all you got unless you take a nap or eat something. You're going to run out. And so having the energy to constantly practice, it's a muscle. Practice saying, you know, like that old Saturday Night Live, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Yeah, all of that. That's what I said, like affirmations take time, but it does build up over time the love that you can build for yourself. And then pruning the negativity. Like when I told my mom I'm not calling her no more, that was me pruning the negativity out of my life, right? And I have other friends that have told me things, even just the way they talk about themselves. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool on you because you're not good for my environment. Sage my house when you leave. And to just be requires you to be comfortable in your own silence, comfortable in your own skin. And I'm saying these things like you can just flip a switch, but you can't. It does take focus, you know, and energy and recognizing I want to be happy. So I'm going to do things that make me happy without feeling guilty about doing things that make you happy. That's another piece of it too. You know, like we say, you just being means being free, and living free means living without guilt. Now, I'm not saying you can run around murdering people and be like, whatever. But, you know, I am saying if I like something, I like it. If I don't like something, I don't like that. If I want something and it makes me happy and it doesn't hurt anybody else, then I can want it. And that's a very powerful way to think about it. As long as I'm not hurting anybody else, I can do what I want. And that's a pathway to freedom. And it also stops you from murdering people. You know, can't hurt nobody else. You know.
I do want to just piggyback off something Greg said. I don't hate myself. I didn't say all that to say that I hate myself because I'm gay.
Oh, that's why I jumped back. Like,
right.
Yeah, I jumped back and took that back. But yeah.
But no, I think for me, the issue has always been I've accepted who I am as I am a long time ago, but when it comes to the sexuality, there's always a but there. I'm gay, but, and it's just so much of, even like I said, like even just a couple of weeks ago, I still had a friend go out and say, oh, he's one of the normal gay guys or whatever. It's still so much that we have to go through and just deal with, you know, like family issues and things like that. I live my life the way that I live because I don't want to be around certain things. I have to deal with certain things, especially when it comes to friends and family. Like I find it hard, like to just have relationships, like friendships with cisgendered men, black men who always go pause and no diddy. And I'm so fucking sick and tired of that. Like it was funny 20 years ago, but it wore out. And I'm just, I don't know. Like that how to be question that hits home to me. Like how do you just be? How do you feel comfortable in your own skin? Joy, how do you be happy without feeling guilty? I can't even go get Korean barbecue without hurting people, I guess. I don't know. It's just so weird of how, I guess, how in your head you can be about things that
So
I can understand it.
Hold up, my fault. Let me ask your friends that say shit like that and it makes you feel away. How often have you spoken up about it?
When I used to speak up about it, it would just divulge into, but you're gay, just deal with it, or this is just how guys are, or whatever.
Friends, bro.
This is where you're down, and you can let them know how much that actually really affects you, to the point where you might even walk away. I had to even do that to my pops, who's literally one of my all-time favorite people in the whole fucking world. And when I heard that he was making queer jokes behind my back, once he realized how serious I was, that I was willing to cut him out of my life, then that's when he fucking changed. There are certain people in my life who I love. They only have maybe 1 or 2 chances for them to say something really fucked up to me when it comes to anything about my sexuality, right? The majority of my friends, my actual community, tends to be cisgendered straight guys, but they know I don't play that when it comes to shit like that. So there's been times where they would say something to me, even as a joke, and I'd be like, I know we're cool, and I know you don't really mean it, but when you're saying certain shit like that, Like I'm not cool with that, And I guess a trait of a Capricorn is we're able to cut motherfuckers off like really easily, no matter how much they mean to us, and it might hurt me, but I'm not dealing with that shit. So
maybe
That's what I was about to say about Aquarius. Like, we just don't care. We don't care at all.
I'd say stand your ground. You know what it means to you to have this community, but also still have your pride. You still have your strength. I understand sometimes it feels like a lost cause because you've maybe brought it up before and then they just keep on keeping at it. What happens once you finally walk away? And then you actually find the ones who actually respect you, because it's a total lack of respect that they have for you. They might call yourself your friends, and all that other stuff, but if they can't simply respect you on just that little notion of like, yo, can you chill with the gay jokes? I'm not too sure they're really your friends.
No, I've that's a whole other episode there. But I found out things. But I do want to say, like, it isn't that I can't take a joke or whatever. The thing is, like what Joyce said, we don't go around saying this is my white friend, this is my straight friend, he doesn't like kids. We don't go around saying these things. But when it comes to queer people, hell, black people even, we got to take those L's. I'm tired of taking the L's. Like, with 2025, we went through so many movements and pandemics, and so much has happened and the world has changed. Why are we still reverting back to 2005 us when we're in 2025? That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to challenge you on that. Who is we reverting back to 2005? Because it ain't nobody here.
Well, people
in
general.
People in general are your friends.
Yeah.
It could be the friends. Do you have, I'm just curious, so Mark, like, would you say, would it help if you had other black gay men who are similar to you, they like some community that you had of your own that you can talk to you about this?
It would, but again, that's where the apprehension things come from, because I've built that community. There's a whole Facebook chat where just about everybody here is in it. But there's still the apprehension of, even if you can relate, people, like, just my general thinking, people only care about themselves. Working with the general public has changed my viewpoint on how the general public view individuality and things like that. And I just believe that people only care for themselves. Why bother other people with your problems when ultimately they only care about how it affects them?
Then you move on from the people.
Mm-hmm.
The people, what they said, birds of a feather flock together. So people you keep around you is an example of who you are.
And I've done that in the last couple of years. Last year, I've changed the people I'm around. Like Phil, you said, like, we connected on TikTok. I had no clue you was trans attracted. You was just in Korea talking about video games and stuff.
Right.
That's all it took.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Q. I had no idea Q. Same with Pop Tech. I had no idea Pop Tech was paying, but we was just hanging out at MomoCon and he came out. I was like, okay, cool, but what are you gonna do about this cosplay though? Like, I don't care. Like, my whole viewpoint has been like, sexuality is a person's private matter. That's just how I've had to accept it, because I've grown up.
Listen to what you just said. That's how I've had to accept it. Why do you accept that?
That is a good therapist question.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting.
We can leave it there.
I didn't think you actually want me to answer that, but
that's when I say right there, that apprehension in you is there. Like, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's there. That's the one thing that I dealt with, or had to learn to deal with the most, is the apprehension.
Mm-hmm.
I am who I am, but
that's life experience that you can only. So that's you.
Yeah. like I hear you saying, you know, I live my life the way I want to. I am who I am. But I don't think you're the one saying but. I think you're allowing other people around you to describe you as but. And if those people are still around you, you need new friends.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Don't be afraid. Look, don't be afraid to clean the board and start over.
Now, I've cleaned the board many times, brother. Many times.
I've learned that either you clean it or something's gonna make you clean the board. Something's gonna happen when you have to just get rid of everything.
So I feel like we're picking on Mark a little bit. So Mark, we're gonna leave you alone for a second.
No, I'm good.
But I do want
to.
Frost has a good note here. It should not be a bother to people who are your real friends. You should be able to be vulnerable to them. And look at that. He is open, or Frost is open whenever you need.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is people that love you should love you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it shouldn't be I love you if, I love you but, I will love you until, unless you do this. And there goes Pop Tech. Okay. But yeah, unconditional love means no conditions. And if there's, you know, I'm cool with you as long as you keep that stuff on the low, that's not a friend.
No.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
No.
That's not a friend. That's somebody that likes being around you, but only on their terms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a full friendship. That's just hanging out. As one other thing that I did want to touch on around representation. And I heard y'all earlier say, you know, y'all haven't seen any really positive representation. Do you recognize yourselves as representation for this generation and the next? Do y'all know y'all are pioneers?
I mean, in a way, yes. Because, I mean, let's be real, seeing a 30-something, you know, transgender guy, hell, growing up, I never seen anybody close to me in the 20s, like who looked like me, who, for the time, I'm sure they existed, but just actually know they're actually out there being represented, know that, okay, there are others who look like me, who've had the same struggles and internal issues and trauma that they deal with themselves. So maybe, hopefully I could be a mentor to that. Because I remember in the group one time, there's a guy, I think he was like 19 years old, who had similar questions to us that I had at that age too. Mm-hmm. And the guys were like open and willing to help him with that too. So it definitely could be helpful to be the mentor, to see somebody who has that same question, especially for a young Black man who's going to get roasted by his friends and family, who's going to get shit on for his dating purposes. So. And I think it probably would have to be so some way too, especially at the Pride events like Atlanta Pride. And I'll admit, one of my concerns, what I don't like about Atlanta Pride, yes, it can be events for everybody, which is great. But it feels a lot of times it's going to be for either gay men, lesbian women, most of the time. That's just me from what I'm seeing. It's like, okay, what about other guys like me who are on the plus side? Like, yeah, I see what is good for you, and I see why Pride events are made, what it's good for. But sometimes it would help to actually run to other guys like me at these events that I'm like, I can chop it up with. I'm like, who can also understand, who can relate.
But I think, piggybacking off what you said, a lot of times you see people like us is at big events like that. Like, you don't have like something small. Like, I don't know about if y'all know about Munches, but you know, a small little community thing where people just get together, like just go to a bar, hang out, or somebody just go play putt-putt, something small like that. Nothing where it's like it's a whole city where people just trying to, right, like you said, find dates or money. We don't have that set up in like nowhere really.
I don't know if I can speak on this, unfortunately, because of the fact that, you know, this is all, you guys are all from Atlanta, correct? I'm assuming.
No, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. I mean, I'm in Atlanta now, but yeah.
The South and shit.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers are in the South. Yeah, I am not. So, like, Ohio is a very, very liberal city. We have like a lot of gay shit here. So, like, it's very gay here. So, I think for me, with community and stuff and such, you know, all communities primarily have their things, you know, and issues and problems. What I'm hearing from what I'm hearing from everybody here, it's everywhere. It's not just a singularity. It is everywhere. Everything you're describing right now is all in Ohio as well. So my thing is that finding your tribe is there. It's about the initiative of making the effort to be in that tribe, to understand that tribe. And there's openness to that. You know, you guys, I can sense that all that shit is not alone. Like when I was growing up trying to find my peoples, I found my peoples and they weren't far. It was right around the motherfucking corner. It just took the step of me being open enough to learn and listen to their stories so they can listen to my story. And all that stuff is there, you know. I feel like sometimes when we talk about queerness and gayness and all this shit, it feels almost like a problem. And I don't like that. Like when we're talking about it, there's more negativity that I'm hearing from everybody than positivity. Like when you're talking about being gay and being queer or being pan or trans or bi or anything of that shit, it should be talked in love and talked in understanding. I keep hearing too much negative shit, like, you know, being taken advantage of. Yes, there are gay people who are just there to have sex, to get off, to do these things of that nature. But there are also people out there who just want to be loved like everybody else. There are people out there. It's just depending on where the fuck you're looking. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah, I wanna back Ryan what he's saying here. I think even going back through everything that we talked about in terms of community as well as being a pioneer of representation. Um, I mean, I think for me, it was an ebb and flow. Sometimes I would find representation. I would find some representation in comic books or characters I remember would stand out to me, and I would be like, "Yo, this is so fucking cool." Like for example, reading about John Constantine that he was bisexual. That was like one of my first like real openings. Of, oh, this shit exists. As well as when they made Colossus queer in the Ultimate Universe. I remember that was like huge to me. And I think as I've gotten older and I started to like gradually come out, and honestly I didn't have much of a queer tribe. All my friends were straight growing up, but they were the ones who made me feel the most proud of being myself, because they were the ones who would just be like, dude, this what's going on? Or even some of my straight male friends just being the ones who'd be like, dude, are you talking to anybody? Like, well, open up to us about shit. I was like, I don't know if I can talk to you. But they were very adamant of just like, because they would hear my situation with girls, but then they would be like, are you talking to any dudes? You say that you're bi, but I'm just like, yeah. And then finding that comfort within them was what brought me to be very comfortable within myself. And then, as I got to college, and I think it was one of those things where it's like, I gotta come out all over again.
Yeah.
But I think this time though, what was different was upon me finally just being and making where I just didn't really care so much about hiding anything about myself. That's when I realized a lot of guys around me started coming out because of me being. They saw me being unfiltered about it and not really giving a damn. And then later on, they would tell me, "Yo, I actually came out because you were just so fucking cool about it, and you didn't seem like an issue. It didn't seem like a problem." And once that clicked in my head, was like, "Yo, me just being me is enough to do this." And I was just like, "No, I'm cool," And that's why also when I'm online, if you're watching me on Facebook, I'm very unfiltered, whether it's about blackness, sexuality, or anything like that. And I'm still getting messages and meeting people who are just like, dude, you helped me come out. Or like the amount of bi dudes who reach out to me, even though like they're still dealing with trying to find their journeys, but it was like, yo, like they're bi or pan or whatever. And then just to see this black dude who's just whatever about it is enough for them to
Mm-hmm.
be okay with themselves, you know. So I agree with Ryan. Even with some of my stories with like a lot of the queer characters that I do, right? The issues that they deal with is never ever about their sexuality. They have to deal with like fucking creatures and, and like
Yeah.
villains and shit, and they just happen
Like
to
That question, just like that question that just came up, that shit just irritated me. There's no time nor place when you feel like coming out. You can come out at fucking 70, you can come out at 80, you can come out at 55. There's no time when you need to come out.
Yeah, everyone
Come
got
out on
different-
your own. On your
Yeah.
own terms.
Mhm.
On your own terms. Period.
Yeah, I like to try to put things in terms of somebody that is willfully misunderstanding. Not saying that EJ was, but you know,
I'm sure.
you know,
It's just
it was just an honest question. You know, I ask people like, you know, would you say that if somebody said, I'm going back to school, would you say, why go back to school now? Or if they said, I'm getting hip surgery, why get hip surgery now? Right. Because it makes me better. It's because it makes me happy. It's because it sets me free. Right. Same thing like when people get divorced after the kids grow up and they're like, well, y'all kids are grown. Why get divorced now? Because I don't have to raise these kids no more. And I'm out. I've been trying to leave the last 17 and a half years. Deuces. You know, but it's never wrong and it's never too late to be true to yourself. You know, and sometimes, you know, to Q, I'm putting words in your mouth, so I apologize. But you know, sometimes you don't realize what it is that you want to be until language changes, vocabulary changes, and you're like, "Ooh, that's me." You know.
Well, what's funny is that I had two exes.
I probably shouldn't
tell
have
me-
responded like that, EJ. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have responded like that. It just triggered me. I'm sorry.
No, but I had two exes to actually explain to me that I was pan. Like they knew I had like bi-curious thoughts, but they said no, you're more pan than bisexual. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that can be really good when you have someone that cares about you enough to help you, like begin that journey. You know, I remember what was it? What was the movie? Rami Malek and Queen. You know what I'm talking about? The movie. I forget the name of the movie.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, thank you, Bohemian Rhapsody. And like towards the end of the movie, he tells, was it his wife at the time? He's like, I think I'm bi. She's like, honey, you're gay. And because he was still struggling after all that time. But yeah, having someone that accepts you in full stop, end of sentence, you know, and that can help you can be a blessing in and of itself, you know. I remember when I realized that that sexuality was a spectrum. And okay, so for people that are listening and having questions and wondering, I got this from one of my friends. She's a trans woman activist, and she says, like, and again, y'all gonna be like, duh, but for the layman in the room, when you're trying to understand the difference between like sexuality or sexual orientation versus gender expression, because the LGBTQ, some of those letters are sexual orientation, some of those letters are gender expression. Gender expression is who you go to bed as. For example, I'm cisgender, I go to bed as a woman. Sexual orientation is who you go to bed with. If I'm heterosexual, I go to bed with men, right? If I was gay, I would go to bed with women, and being binary in a moment. But yeah, who you see in yourself is your expression. Who you are attracted to is your orientation. So hopefully that clears up a couple of things. Yeah, there you go, EJ. We're putting up on, we're actually just a little bit over an hour and a half here. So I want to end with one more question. And I think, because a lot of the stuff that we had up here, I think we've talked about already. And that is, how many of y'all, raise show of hands, are like content creators, social media creators?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So everybody, 4.5. Okay. Because I think about this because Q, I follow you on TikTok the most, and I actually love your series of because I don't, unless okay, no, that's actually my favorite thing to watch with the transitions.
Yes, actually, I'm doing that kind of to branch out to show that more feminine or tougher side. That's why the maid outfit and stuff like that, the more revealing stuff. I have a Raven cosplay I gotta do as well in a second.
Okay. But do you find yourself? So I know that is very intentional. But like when we talked about earlier about whether or not your identity is a part of your art, do you find yourselves being intentional about sharing this part of your life when you're in social spaces, like social media type places?
I guess I could start. Now, for my content, for those that don't know, go by the Blerd Explorer on Instagram and TikTok. I mostly focus on like anime, gaming, Pokemon, Black travel, food related stuff. So I have talked about here or there about my trans track and how it came to be, whatnot, and my experiences. But it's funny enough, I was talking about the person, talking about the whole dating thing. I went out with earlier today. I mentioned this to her. While I was looking at the questionnaires. She asked me, "Is that my ID?" I guess in the sense that no, like my trans attraction, I do talk about from time to time, or if I'm in the mood for it. But my thing is, when you do see me down the street walking down with my big 6'7" self, you're gonna see me see me with nerdy stuff. That's what you're gonna see me wearing, a nerdy shirt, having Pokemon stuff, talk about Pokemon. I'll talk more about gaming, fighting games, Pokemon with you, One Piece all day before I talk about what my dating preferences are, who I go to bed with.
Okay. Anybody else?
I kind of agree with Phil. Like, I talk about everything else but the sexuality because, again, like I feel like the sexuality stuff is private. Who I go to bed with and those issues are my issues and not really to be discussed. But I am trying to open up and do more, like this whole episode, and find like my lane in gay nerdom to talk about, because there are Black gay men who talk about all aspects of nerd culture that I follow, and I'm just trying to figure out where I fit in, like football and Pokemon, and yeah, that's it. Just trying to find my own lane, I guess.
I will say, I know it's not the same, but I have found my tribe, my very niche tribe of people on Threads. It started with people saying, first off, a lot of Black women were looking for the rest of the 92%, like where y'all at? But beyond that, I have a whole group of Black women over 45 who are into K-pop and K-dramas and like werewolf sex romance novels. And we just have fun talking to each other. Yeah, they're lasting for you. But yeah, because one girl was like looking for the other people that like smut and blah, 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 and also do K-dramas. And I was like, dang, follow. Hey, girl.
That's amazing.
So it was a way to find very specific group of folks. And all we do is talk about what books we read and what shows we watch and everything. But I don't know that would be a pathway, because it feels like you're not going to be able to like, hey, where's everybody else? That's a great way to get in trouble on the internet. But I do think that the more we have conversations like this, and maybe somebody's watching, and then they hear someone that identifies the way they do or similar to the way they do, and then it grows from there. And then a friend tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Just like any other art, it doesn't have to, or just any other social media person, it doesn't have to be the center of your identity unless you want it to be. But also, when we have a conversation like this, are people that follow you maybe discovering that it's okay to exist, to just be, to use Greg's words, and to see other people existing and being themselves, it can be inspirational.
I would say, like you said about my transition videos, I do a lot of Easter eggs in my videos and stuff. So if you look at my older videos, you may see some rainbow stuff in there. I do the transition video. Some of my interviews actually had on a pansexual shirt, but it was like exolotls on there. So if you knew the colors for pansexual, which is like the pink, yellow, and blue, the shirt was psyched up like that. So unless you didn't know it, you would know it was that. So I throw in Easter eggs, so it's kind of a filler.
Nice. Yeah. So people, it's like having a secret code on the wall. People can find you if they know what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are coming up on time. I feel like we could probably do another one of these because there's just so much to cover. But I do want to ask you all, just going around the horn, we're going to start with Phil. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you're working on and what's the next big thing you might want to promote really quickly.
Sure. Like I said, you can follow me on Instagram, IG, and TikTok under the Blerd Explorer. Right now, I'm actually working on 2 books. I'm writing the Black Travel Guide ebook for South Korea. I'm also doing one for 2 points like Thailand and Siem Reap, Cambodia. What makes my Black Travel Guide book going to be unique, of course, it's going to be a typical Black Travel Guide, but my aim with these books is to make a guidebook that everyone within the Black diaspora can feel comfortable. Because a lot of times I see Black travel content is great. We also see more Black travel content creators, but a lot of times we see them, it feels a little bit too bougie. It feels like there's a niche market to those locations where it's like, okay, with this book, I want to hit everyone in the Black diaspora. Like I want to hit the Black alts. I want to hit the Blerds. I want to hit the Black LGBTQ folk, because sometimes, even I admit sometimes, when I eventually travel to these other countries, I want to know, is this a country that I can bring my trans GF with me to this country, or will I go by myself? Because those are things I want to know. So that's what I'm going to do. And plus, a lot of times, no one's really done a Black travel guide for Korea or Thailand. You do see Black travelers going to Thailand, so I figured, why not do one? So both. Most likely the book's going to come out early next Q1 2026. That's what I was looking at, to be honest. So if you follow me on social media, if you follow me on social media, then you'll find out when it's going to be published.
Okay, we're looking forward to that because me and my friends have been talking about going to Korea since we watched so much stuff, moving on to Brian.
I'm Ryan. You can find me on Facebook at Ryan Robinson. I'm mostly active on TikTok at the Art of Ryan Robinson. I just recently finished my version of Akasha from Queen of the Damned for the Vampire Lestat for Sheila Atum. So I just painted that. Right now, I'm reviewing on TikTok right now, Midnight Mass, doing reviews for that. And then for me, I'm just writing a book called The Calerian Saga. That's a new experience because I don't write. So it's been fun.
Interesting. Fantasy, science fiction.
Fantasy sci-fi. It's about the last living elf in Calerian trying. It's a thing.
Okay, I'm here for it. Q, what about you?
I'm Pop Tech on almost every social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. The only one that says like Pop Tech _YouTube for it. So right now I'm on a break kind of with content. Well, I got all my content, but con-wise I'm on a break. November and June I try to take breaks for my kid's birthday. So I'll start back in December for AWA. So I'm gonna have to flood y'all with my interviews and content from New York Comic Con. So be on the lookout for that.
Okay. All right. Greg.
You can find me right there on Twitter, Greg and Elysée. Same one for TikTok, which I just started. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can start selling my books on there. Greg Day is my DAE is on IG, and you can just type Greg A. Elysée on Facebook, where I'm mostly active, posting a lot of random ass shit, whether it's my books or gay shit, black shit, whatever. What else? I just released Hammer, which is John Henry versus the Robot Apocalypse. That's been doing pretty well. I started off as a Patreon. Now it's finally printed, and hopefully more is now in the next year, which will be the 10th year anniversary.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So for me, again, you can find me at Joyride08 on all the places where I want to be found. I'm on TikTok as A Moment of Joy. And if you like the little coaching things you saw me do tonight, I have a whole executive coaching YouTube channel called A Moment of Joy on YouTube. So look for me there. I'm also usually on the Moana Nui podcast, on Blerdkast, sorry. And I love moderating these. I love being a part of this setup. And so thank you, Marc, for always having me and allowing me to do this. This is one of my things I look forward to in the evenings. And I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Once again, I am Marc from Blerdography. You can find me here every Monday for more episodes of Blerdkast, and every other Monday they'll be live when we collaborate with Moana Nui. So if you haven't, please like and subscribe to both channels. Next week we have something very special coming. I want to give a shout out to Black Geeks of Dragon Con because one of the creators gave me the idea for this. We are doing the OGs of Dragon Con. We are going back in time to hear the living history of one of our favorite conventions and essentially get the story of what became Blerd culture from so many legends who I can't remember right now. We'll have Tony Cade. We'll have the founder of the Dragon Con Parade. She'll be on, and so many others. So next week is going to be great. But I'd like to thank everybody for coming on. This was a really good episode. Again, there are a lot of things within the Black gay community that needs to be talked about, and a lot of band-aids that need to be ripped off. And I think tonight we were able to do that, so some healing can begin. So again, I would like to thank everybody for coming on. And please, if you're watching this late, go and subscribe to everybody. Go follow them. Check them out. They have some cool, amazing work. Trust me, I follow everybody. You won't be disappointed. But until then, I'll see you when I see you.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if we put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.